I want to dig into this, and I'll start off first with my eating disorder. It did have a hold on me because I did feel like my life was so out of control. I did not feel like things were stable for me. I did not feel like I had anywhere to go to just be myself and to be seen and loved. It's such a shame. The world is so busy. However, it's time for focused conversations. Hi, welcome back to the studio. I'm your host for this podcast. My name is Victoria Ruth, and this is Focused Conversations, and welcome on in. I bring people on, they share their blueprints on how they've triumphed and the things that keep them going to get up the next day. And then I also have my own little solo episodes where I tell you guys how the last episode affected me and or affects my life and my blueprint on how I am getting through and or have gotten through that specific subject. And today we are covering my girl Delon's episode. And I just want to say before I jump into this, I have so much gratitude in my heart for the people that come on and are vulnerable with me because it can be scary to sit here and tell the world, and who knows, however many people will watch, but it can be scary to sit here and be vulnerable like this because people like to judge. People like to have their own opinions and biases without knowing the full picture. And so I'm creating this space so people can share their full picture. And so that the people who kind of feel alone or unseen, unheard, or like, you just don't get me, like whatever the case might be, I created this platform so that you can just feel like connected in some kind of way. So let's jump into Delon's. And side note, Delon, I'm excited for you to do my makeup one day. Anyways, okay. So Delon's episode, I think when we first started it, we were going to go down the route of like pretty privilege and the nuances of her having her VSG surgery and what that has done for her and her confidence and the change. But then it went a different route where we really started digging into what was the starting, like what was the seed for the overeating? What was the seed for the people pleasing? What created this space in her heart to feel as though she deserved less? And I want to dig into this, and I'll start off first with my eating disorder that I had. So, growing up, I love my family. However, they are really big on how we look. I can't speak for all communities, but I do know that for Black people, African American people, people who are Black and live in America, we do this thing called peacocking, and it's really bad in Atlanta. Oh my gosh, it's really, really bad. But I understand where it stems from. It's obviously systemic racism, right? You know, because if you were back in the day someone that could show up and show out, you wanted to be proud because your family came from slavery, you know, dirt, shackles, not being able, you know, eating pig intestines, that kind of stuff. So I understand. But let me give you the definition of peacocking in Black culture. It means usage of flashy clothing, bold behavior, or showing off accomplishments to attract attention. So that is what goes on a lot in the Black community. And with that, it can breed levels of insecurity and vanity in people. And so growing up for me, I was often told that I was fat, like super fat. And here's a picture of me younger, so you can see that. Never really was that big. And then here's a picture of me at my biggest, which was maybe like 2 years ago. And with that, with being spoken to like that on a regular, and then the reason being, oh, well, I just don't want anyone to talk about you that way. And, you know, it bred insecurity inside of me. It made me feel as though I was just so big, I was so large and in charge, that instead of going towards gluttony, I went down the road of anorexia and bulimia. And so that started for me in middle school. I remember the first day I actually did it. I ate this like to-go container of macaroni and cheese we had, and I scarfed it down like I ate like a huge amount of it. And I was so full, and something just kind of urged me to go throw it up. I don't know, I can't remember what, but I will say too, so the enemy doesn't know your thoughts, but he can speak to you. He can enter your mind and give you thoughts. So let's be very clear about that. But he doesn't know your thoughts. Only God knows those. So we could even say that it was a negative spirit encouraging me to go down that route. And so I did, and I threw it all up. And then I had been doing it for about a week or so. And so the lady, she was like a mom to me, that saw me a week later. She was like, "Oh my gosh, you look so good." And I remember the day and everything. I had on this like neon green shirt, and like my little shoulder was out, and I had these yellow hoops on. And once I got her validation that I looked good, I was like, "Oh, all bets are off. I'm doing this." So that was like, I think 7th grade is when I started purging like that. And that went on well into right before I went into my freshman year of high school. Um, and what really made that stick for me was I had a friend, kind of like what Delon was saying, like she had friends where they related on being big and they would eat together. I had a friend where when she found out that I was bulimic, she told me she was bulimic, and we trauma bonded on that to the point where we even had a nickname for it. We called it birding, and her tone in my phone used to be a bird chirping. Like, it was really disgusting. I won't get into like all the details of how we encouraged each other to do that, but we did. And the thing that made me stop was I actually got into a relationship, and I told him about it, and he was like, "Ew, if you don't, I'm not kissing nobody with throw up on their mouth." And so it's not funny, but it's funny. And so with that, that's what made me stop. But I want to dig into belief though, because it still showed up for me a few years after. Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning into the podcast. I just wanted to take a quick commercial break to let you know about the website where you can go on and get your Good Thoughts merch. This is a line of affirmation shirts that I created to keep you motivated, to keep you in the right mindset, and to make sure that you're being intentional with how you think. You can pick from shirts, hats, notebooks, journals, it's all on there, as well as be on the lookout because my community slash coaching program will be on there very soon so that you can have one-on-one sessions with me if there's something you're dealing with and you just need someone to talk to and to help work through your mindset. Or you can join the community group where maybe you just need more people who are like-minded and striving towards the things you're looking for. So make sure you check out focusconversations.com and go get your Good Thoughts merch, or go and make your very own custom affirmation shirt. So let me break down eating disorders. It's a way for you to have control over your life. So if you feel like you are lacking control, or if your kids feel like they are lacking control because you don't have a healthy environment for them to be in, it is easy for kids to go, especially young girls, to fall into eating disorders because that is one thing they can control. They can control what they eat, what they don't eat, and what comes in and out of them. Laxatives are a way to also abuse that. I had a little stint with that as well because I just wanted to be skinny. I did not want to be fat. I was so afraid that I was fat. And so the belief came for me where that broke off was when, kind of like what Delon had said, like, if God wants me to do X, Y, and Z, I'm not even going to be able to. So I started learning like what was really, how it was so harmful for me to be anorexic, to be bulimic, how it could, make me not have kids one day. It would erode my teeth. My teeth are still good. I've only had 2 cavities in my life. So clock that before you try to say something. No. But just even like all these different things, like it just literally would make me unhealthy, and like it was eroding my body from the inside out. And so once I decided that I wanted to be better for God, that was when I just like didn't do it anymore. But it did have a hold on me because I did feel like my life was so out of control. I did not feel like things were stable for me. I did not feel like I had anywhere to go to just be myself and to be seen and loved fully and wholeheartedly. And so it was easier to control it. And mind you, at the time, I ran cross country. And so what I would do is I would eat one chewy bar in the morning. I would eat one chewy bar at lunch. I would go run cross country. I would come home. I would eat everything I possibly could. I would stuff and stuff and stuff myself. I would get on the scale and see how much I weighed. And then I would go and vomit and then get back on the scale to see how much weight I had lost. And that was affirming for me. So I am pointing that out to say if you have any young children that are dealing with body issues, please put them into therapy. Please be mindful of how you speak to them. Those formative years are very important. How you pour into their minds, what you say to them, how you affirm them, how you make them feel seen, loved, heard, and known. It is extremely, extremely critical how you treat them, because they're just trying to figure things out. Even though you as an adult might also be trying to figure things out, they are impressionable and they might make very drastic decisions to uphold and be whatever it is that you've instilled in them. So just be easy and be mindful and ask yourself, if I was 10 years old, would I want somebody saying X, Y, and Z to me? If I was 4, 5, 13, 16, like, be who you needed as a kid to any child you come across. So, and I mean any person younger than you, be who you needed. And I bet what you did not need is somebody telling you what you weren't going to accomplish, negative things, and all the negative, anything negative. That's not what you needed. You needed constructive criticism. You needed to be loved. You needed to be held to a high standard. You needed to also know that it was okay if you messed up and there was still going to be love for you at the end of that. So just be mindful, be easy, be intentional. Stop just saying whatever because you think that they're kids. They are extremely impressionable and it means a lot. So there's that little side note. But yeah, back to the belief. It's a decision. And back to, closing doors, you do have to just stop things. You do have to just give things up sometimes. Sometimes you do need to just go cold turkey and then find accountability to stay inside of what it is that you need to be doing. But like I said, reading the word, prayer, going, like Delon said, going into that secret place, finding solitude. Those are the ways that you can overcome whatever is having a stronghold on you. I love that she talked about disassociation from her body. Like, I remember being younger and like I said, it was crazy. I just thought I was so big. Like, I thought I was just like 200-300 pounds, and I wasn't. But that is what I was made to feel. And then as I really dug into that spiritual warfare of bulimia and anorexia, it's really solidified itself to the point where I didn't even see myself clearly. Like, I would look at pictures of myself and be like, oh wait, I look like this. Like, that is how bad it was. So like I said, I just urge you, if your kids are in wrestling, like all that, encourage them to go up a weight class or down a weight class. Don't have them gorging and stuffing themselves. Like, that's crazy. I have a friend whose mom wanted them to be a football player and literally made them eat pancakes until they threw up. Like, it's like, it's crazy. And you really do instill habits in people. And then the crazier part is that it's, once they're older, it's up to them to break free. So just be intentional with how you speak to kids is really my biggest thing that I'm actually jumping on for this episode. Be intentional for how you speak to anybody younger than you, and be intentional for how you speak to anybody, period, because you just don't know what anybody is going through. You don't know what is going to solidify in them. I had a friend one time, she was working out, being a bodybuilder, and I had made a joke because she was on this like strict diet. And I made a joke when I was like, oh, you could just throw it up, because she had eaten bad, or she had like a little binge crash out moment. And she went and threw it up, and I felt so awful. I was like, oh my gosh, like from that moment on, I really understood the power of words. I was like, I did not mean for you to take me serious. Like, I was just joking. But that's just to give you an example of even a peer. Like, you have to be intentional with your mouth. You have to be intentional. So I'm going to leave that there. The next thing that I want to touch on from Delon's episode, I made a few notes. The next thing I want to touch on, I touched on the closed doors, not looking back. So walking into your purpose, and people can see that light, whether it be you're losing weight, whether it be, you're reading your word more or whatever. People can see that light, and this is for men and women. You have to have boundaries when it comes to the opposite sex. And I love that Delon broke down about closing the doors and keeping them shut, not going back, because it can be, even at my fundraiser that I held in November, and I had asked the panelist, Tamisha, I asked her, I said, how do you, because she was like, she's real quick at being like, if you're not for me, I'm out. And I was like, how do you do that? And she said, run. And I was like, exactly. Okay, so run. That is my advice to you guys. If you feel like, and don't be irrational about it, like sit and pray, but listen to what God has to tell you. If you feel something in your spirit, like somebody's not for you, not aligned with you, they're encouraging you to do things that aren't of you and aren't of God, especially when it comes to relationships, run. It's not for you, and it's okay to turn left. The law of averages. If you keep saying no to what's not for you, what's for you is going to come, and you will be able to accept it. But you can't accept it having what's not for you in the forefront. I just recently had to say goodbye to somebody because as I replayed our relationship, I realized, oh, yes, you might have love for me. However, you don't love me in totality. Like there were moments of trying to humble me. There were moments of belittling me. There were moments of trying to silence me. And although there were other things that were super great and super awesome, the worst things, though, were things that could have really mess with my confidence. It could have turned a relationship into an abusive relationship, not on my end, but the other end. Like, I understand now how you can get into abusive relationships, especially if I can speak for women, but it really goes both ways. So if there's anybody not seeing you for you and you feel like you have to fight to be seen, that person is not for you. That is not what they're for. So definitely have boundaries. Set up those boundaries and don't go down the path. Stay on a narrow path. There's going to be people that, like Delon said, they're going to want to encourage you and look at you like, oh, what are you doing that for? Or this would be more fun if you did this. You know what's best for you, and just stick with that and go with that. The right people are going to come, especially if you're praying for it, asking for it, and seeking it. Knock and it shall open. Seek and ye shall find. Ask and it shall be given. Those are true words from the Bible, and I live by that. You don't have to be stuck in anything that's not for you. So definitely have your boundaries. Definitely don't keep people around that are encouraging the worst of you. It's not good for you. And then one thing I wanted to touch on, where I said, I really wanted to have Black men in my life that I can trust. And God has given me that. It is, I just wanted to have that testimony because God has truly given me some Black men that I can trust. I feel safe with them. I don't feel like they're trying to sniff and scratch something, they're not trying to just get something out of me. Like, they're just genuinely are like, Victoria, you good? How can I help? How can I be there for you? And vice versa. And I show up in the way that I can show up for them. And that is just to say, like I said, if you ask, you shall receive. If you seek, you shall find. If you knock, the door will open. So just pray for your heart posture. Pray for God to reveal anything inside of you that might be hindering you from your highest and truest self. And I promise He will answer and you will get that. Read your word. Please read your word. I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, it's the white man. Okay, then go get the original Bible, the Ethiopian Bible. Go get the original one. Read though. Okay, read the word, please. It's a trick of the enemy to make you not read at all. Like, it genuinely is. And then I guess it's time for me to sum up my blueprint on how do you combat eating disorders, self-worth, and staying on your narrow path and having boundaries. So for the eating disorders, I would say I didn't go the route of getting a nutritionist, but I think it happens more so in adolescence. So I feel like it falls more on parents and adults, genuinely. So I'm going to go from that angle. just be easy on how you talk to these babies and your peers. Like, be easy on that. Don't say things to people you wouldn't want to hear yourself. It's not motivating. Also, understand what motivates people. There are so many different things. Like, I'm not motivated by somebody being mean to me and screaming at me and saying negative things. Like, I would never get a trainer that's like, oh, you fat large, like, work, work. No, I need to hear, you're doing such a great job. Oh, wow, your body's about to be so You see what I mean? Like, everybody is motivated different. So understand people's motivations for things. If you yourself are battling an eating disorder, like I said, go look up what can really happen to you if you don't stop. And then you have to also understand that we are not here for ourselves. Like, God did not make all of us individual people just for us. We are here for each other. And if there is no you, if you are not operating at the highest version of yourself, what are you doing? I need you. I might not know you yet, but I need you. Everybody needs each other. I need Abiola, who's over here helping me right now. I need my parents. I need the friends I've had and lost and grown with. We need each other. There are life lessons in all that we do. When it comes to knowing yourself and knowing your worth and not being a people pleaser, go please yourself first. Be kind and gentle to yourself. Figure out what you want and then create boundaries around that. So if you know you left a hike that and you wouldn't want to be with somebody that was sedentary, then don't entertain somebody like that. Or, if there's just different things, but go find the things that make you happy and then set boundaries and don't let anyone take you off of that, because that's you being truest to yourself and kind to yourself. I always say the same thing. Ask God to reveal it. And then also ask for the ability to receive and to understand and to change and to morph, and just be ready for it, because it's going to be a beautiful thing. And I'm excited for you. I hope this was encouraging to you. I hope that you feel loved, seen, and heard. And I just ask that you generate that peace inside of your heart and you find the people that are good and healthy for you to be around. So thanks for coming into the studio. Until next time.